We're only day 4 into Operation Epic Fury, and guess what? I'm not okay. We're going to cover the war today, and maybe some other stuff, but of course, we will end with the J.D. Vance Quarter. Travis Irvine, Seena, Ghaznavi, all that, and hopefully a little bit more will make it bearable on the Foreign Report. Welcome back to the Foreign Report. I'm Seena Ghaznavi, your weekly foreign policy show that gives you all the gory details of geopolitics with hopefully some laughs along the way. My co-host here, Travis Irvine.
I'm bringing the laughs today.
Are you really?
I just don't know what we're going to talk about.
Don't make light of this war.
I don't know what we're going to talk about today.
I'm grieving.
All my group chats this past weekend were like, wow, what a time to have a foreign policy podcast with your one Iranian friend. And then I looked, and you are my only Iranian friend. And we do have a podcast. So it's great to see you.
It is good to be here. Thanks for making me laugh already. This is my third show of the day. I'm excited about being here. I'm doing another show tomorrow. There's a lot of people talking about...
You're everyone's only Iranian friend, apparently.
You know, the two things people...
Page 7? How'd that one go?
It was
Did
really
you eat
fun.
snacks at least?
I did.
Okay.
Check in on page 7. I love that show. You know, it's funny. The two texts that people ask me advice about, it's like I'm buying an Apple computer and it's war with Iran.
Wow. And no one's asking about how you're doing grieving-wise.
I know. We get a lot of
assholes.
that. Thank you for reaching out to me and everything like that. Wow. I mean, Friday, I was out to dinner. I actually went to this amazing this modern Persian restaurant called Azizam in L.A.
Where's that?
Silver Lake.
Oh.
So good. Highly recommend it. In fact, don't go there because you'll make it worse for me to go there. But
I'm down to go whenever.
It's so good. It's incredible. And then I was like, the drumbeat of war. I was just telling my friend, I was like, man, with everything that's been happening to me, January I was sick, February my father passed away, and then now there's like a drumbeat of war. I was like, I really just hope things can just be chill for like a few weeks.
Right. The month of March. It usually, they say it opens like a lion, it'll end like a lamb, or if it opens like a lamb, it ends like a lion.
Yeah.
How do you think this one started?
It's going to open with a massacre and end with a double massacre.
Okay, so double lion.
Double lion.
It's all lion.
All lion all the time.
Operation Rising Lion.
Well, it's Operation Epic Fury.
Okay. How about we combine the two?
Epic
Operation
Lion.
Rising Lion, Epic Fury Lion.
Fury Lion.
Yeah,
Furious,
more lion.
A furious
There's
lion.
a lot of lion going on, frankly.
A lot of it.
Thank you.
And then this happens, and obviously, shout out to my wife. She's like taking care of the kids while I was away.
Yeah.
And then like wake up Saturday morning, and I just looked at her. I was like, "Did you look at the news?" She goes, "What?" I was like, "It's happened." And she's like, "Oh." It's just like, I'm going to lose this man again into like a wormhole.
The abyss is coming for us all.
Listen, so much has happened in just 4 days. This is day 4.
Sure. And by the time we drop this episode, a bunch of other things will probably happen.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. But tell us where we are now, please.
Yeah, where we are now. So the U.S. and Israel.
So you wake up with a belly full of Persian food.
Oh, yeah.
Feeling good.
Feeling great.
Probably the best you felt in weeks.
In weeks, and I was like, finally, I feel like I'm slightly like kind of getting back to a routine.
Yes, but the drum beat's happening over here.
I knew the drum beat was happening.
Yeah, and it's not like a fun drum and bass.
I knew something was going to happen eventually.
They were moving we've talked about it in the weeks past, they were moving all the USS whatevers, the Gerald Fords. I think Ed and I covered that. We're like, our most feared president. Well, what's he going to do, fall down the stairs? Come on, folks.
So they start this attack. U.S. and Israel start this attack on Iran for a variety of reasons. We don't you could say that Trump basically set them up for this.
Or Benjamin Netanyahu also.
Yeah,
I've been seeing. My algorithm's effed, so I am going to be asking you plenty of questions. But it seems like Israel was ready to make the first move, and if they did that, I think Marco Rubio even said, if Israel makes this move, the U.S. preemptively has to make a bunch of moves to protect all of our interest in the area.
Yeah, well, it doesn't seem they're doing a very good job protecting their interests in the area at this point.
All right. So what were the first moves here? Who fired the first shot?
Well, you saw that they just started bombing, and they had all these, ships, these aircraft carriers, and the notable one, of course, is that they got Ayatollah Khamenei
right away.
Pretty soon. I think it was first day.
First shot.
I don't know about first strike, but first day,
sure.
I believe. Honestly, this is a lot of it's running together. But I think what people don't know is, like, how did they get him? Now, one of the things that the Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, didn't know, and by the way, for those of you guys don't get it, this guy is like the Pope for Shiism.
Wow.
He is the guy that talks to God.
Okay.
And so that's why when they got him, everyone, a lot of these Shiite people around the, West Asia were like, oh, very upset because like their Pope was basically, it's like, who's that? He's supposed to be like protected by God, Well, that didn't work out.
No.
Sorry.
A lot of popes died too. I got news for everybody.
And he always was like, death to America, death to Israel. You got it, buddy. It's just a little reversed.
Yeah, now it reversed.
Not a reverse.
Wow.
So, Uno reverse.
Wow.
That's
got
what they
him.
did. Yeah. So
now we'll get a Chicago Ayatollah, right?
But exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. But what's crazy is that they didn't think the U.S. or Israel would attack during the day.
Oh.
And that's exactly what happened. Is they attacked during the day. Khamenei was like having breakfast. This is why they got a bunch of leaders right off the jump, because they were all in one place.
Right. I remember you and our producers talking about this in our Slack chat. Like,
yeah,
they were all together at the same time, despite this drum beat.
Yes, all together. He was like having breakfast or something. I don't know.
What was he having?
I don't know. The tears of children. I don't know.
Cool.
And then you also saw this. This is also in the news. This school that of young girls.
Yes.
That was blown up.
Right.
We don't know. And there's a lot of people out there that are saying the IRGC did it. There's a lot of people that are saying that Israel did this on purpose, or that the U.S. did this on purpose, or that it was on purpose. Here's the thing: we don't know. It is awful.
Yeah.
I would pressure people that are upset about the school of children being killed is to question yourself. Were you as upset when over 30,000 Iranians were killed for protesting?
Right.
Where is your rage that level? Because we're upset. The ones like me that were yelling about this for a long time, we're just as upset about that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have to know that this is what's going to happen. People are going to die in this war, and it's awful. And it could have been avoided, but at the same time, we're here now.
Sure.
And just to be specific on that, years ago, that compound, that area, was an IRGC barracks.
That's what I had heard, that they were using old maps.
They had an old Google map.
And it got replaced with a school.
And so there was so they kind of split it off a little bit. So one part was an IRGC compound still, but they built a wall, and then they kind of made this little area a school. My guess is for like the families of the people that work at the barracks or whatever. I don't know.
Sure.
It's just me, guessing.
Sure.
But that's what it's an old map. Okay. Yeah. So great job, whoever did that. There are stories that we were hearing during the protests that were happening in December and January, that the Islamic Republic was ready with bombs to bomb residential areas if the United States and Israel started attacking, that they would bomb their own residential areas to make it look like the U.S. and Israel did it to curry favor.
Wow.
With it. So that was like a big, so that's something to like keep in the back of your mind. Again, this show is all about holding the complexity.
Yeah.
Hold on to these things. We don't know exactly what happened yet. We will eventually find out exactly what happened. So I'm not going to be one that just says it was the IRGC or it was Israel. I'm sure people would want me to say one way or the other. But you know what? I live in this emotionally conflicted space, and I have been here for a long time.
Right.
So frankly, technically, I'm actually very comfortable right now.
Wow.
There we go.
I've never seen you so relaxed.
Ah!
Oh, he's fine. He's fine.
I'm fine.
We'll get him some Persian food.
Okay, so then they got Khamenei. They're also bombing all these other installations and everything like that.
Strategic targets.
The thing that the Iranians started doing, of course, was they started firing off their Shahed drones, which is like these little drones, these cheap drones, and their cheap rockets.
Oh.
And initially, they were like, we are only going to attack U.S. military installations. And then it was like very quickly apparent that there was absolutely none of like that. They did that a little bit, but then they hit like, I think they hit like a hotel in Dubai or like a residential area. They're just doing like, they want to terrorize all the regional powers. They even bombed Oman, which is like their...
Oh, me, oh, my, Oman?
Oman!
Oh, man.
Come in! So that's just been a mess there. So
Sure.
where we sit today, day 4... Oh, go ahead, please.
Well, my question would be, is that part of their strategy, or
Yes.
are they just flailing right now?
No,
or is flailing the strategy?
They want everyone to pay. They want to. I would say they want to bring more people into this.
Yeah.
They want to pull them in
They
because
want to pull
remember,
the whole region in.
killing Khamenei this way
Yeah.
was his wish to be martyred in this way.
Oh, sure. And now, like you said, you have all the Shiites who, no matter if they like Iran or not, this was their guy.
This was their guy. They want the martyrdom experience is very. This is different than Sunni Islam, right?
Yeah,
Shiaism is like kind of it's the Catholic. It's like the weirder one, right?
Or as I used to like to say, the Shiite has hit the fan.
Exactly, and
Great
that was
bit.
like daily over there.
Yeah.
And so they made him a martyr. Okay, so what? By bombing these other regional powers, they don't care. Let's say if Saudi Arabia, which they've got some like U.S. old planes and stuff and fighter jets.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Saudi Arabia got involved and they started bombing Iran and stuff like that. Saudi Arabia would they'll kill Iranians. They don't care. They're like the Islamic Republic, the regime officials, the people that are in power or whoever's left, they will sacrifice every single one of their own citizens. They do not care.
They don't care.
Because to them, they're the Avengers. They are the good guys. To them, they are the ones that are going to sacrifice themselves to defeat the Western, the bad guys, the Western powers.
Right.
And so this is where we sit. Now, what just happened, I think, last night
Okay.
or today.
Or do you want, is there anything else major that happened Saturday, Sunday, Monday? I mean, like you said, it all kind of blends together. But
I think,
after
yeah.
Khomeini, it was just,
Khamenei.
thank you.
So
He's
Khomeini,
the Ayatollah,
they're both Ayatollahs.
and he was warned.
Yeah. So
Ayatollah once, Ayatollah twice.
So this is the thing that people mess up. Khomeini, Kho,
Khomeini,
is the guy from before. He was the 1979 guy.
got you, the OG.
Khamenei.
Oh, boy. This is going to make me both sound smarter and dumber to all my friends.
He's the newer guy.
Yeah.
Second pope.
Second Pope.
Okay.
Pope Leo II.
So he's out.
Okay, both Ayatollahs.
And so what happens when they need to find a new pope?
Oh, they do the everyone gathers.
Uh-huh.
Oh, boy. I know where this is going. Man, this is one of those things where you're just like, boy, religion sure does set itself up for failure, man.
So they all
get together
and
to pick a new Chicago Pope.
Exactly. The Assembly of Experts got together,
Oh,
which is like the
boy.
Cardinals, and they were like, it's like 88 of them. They got together. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. It's just so stupid.
I know. We
It's
were
like,
laughing
okay,
at the...
Hassan, listen, we need to find a new one.
Yeah.
So why don't we?
We got to do the thing where we
Let's
all get together at one very big target.
I sent an Outlook invite to everybody, so please be on time. You know, there's a war going on.
Is an Eventbrite? Yeah.
I mean, it could have been an email, brother.
Yeah. This could have been a Zoom chat,
Could have been a
boys.
Zoom. Could have been a Teams even.
So,
Get on the Slack huddle, whatever you got to do.
anything, Discord.
They were all there, and buddy, they got blown up.
Oh, boy.
Like, what a bunch of
So
idiots.
they
This
just
is
took
in
out the
Rome.
next layer.
So this was in Rome. This was like the religious center, where the religious power is, and that got blown up. So the question is, what's left? And the big worry that I've had the last 4 days is that the administration has taken their messaging from, which was the very first thing Trump said, to regime change, to threat change, basically, which is they want to neutralize the threat that Iran poses to the regional and world as well. And now there's a subtext to this as well where, China is the benefactor or beneficiary of extremely cheap prices of Iranian oil.
Ah.
And they are the biggest buyer of Iranian oil.
Oh.
Where else did China get oil? Venezuela.
Uh-oh.
So you're starting to see kind of the
This
pieces.
is some chess moves, if you will.
I would say they play checkers.
Yeah, this is
This
like,
White House.
King me. I'm king. I'm double king now. So they got the oil first because they knew, I've seen that in my algorithm. That's why they went for Venezuela first, to get the oil secured there, because A, the rest of the world's about to lose a bunch of cheap oil.
Yeah.
And B, now we got it.
Well,
in theory.
We didn't really get it yet, but I
Right.
think, we are stopping their ability to do it. Of course, we're going to tie up their Navy because the IRGC already closed the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah, and that Strait of Hormuz, I remember that from 20 years ago
Yes.
with the first Iraq war. Everyone was worried about that Strait of Hormuz. Could you please explain why that's so crucial?
Well, that's where a lot of the oil comes out.
But
right?
that's like
that's where the
like
the
60% of the world's, but also just other corporate goods and everything.
It's a huge throughway.
Yes.
So right, so
in Iran, that was what they always threatened with. It's
Always
like, you
threatened.
come for us, we're shutting down this strait.
So again, we go back to kind of like the reasons for this war of to help Americans.
Yeah.
Does the guy that I grew up with in Pittsburgh or anyone you grew up in Columbus benefit from oil prices spiking today?
No, I would
Does
say
anyone,
no one does.
No one does, right?
Right.
So they closed the Strait of Hormuz immediately. So that's a whole thing. So the navies are going to have it out there. And we just talked about how they bombed the Assembly of Experts, right? There's a rumor that I've seen that they also bombed the parliament in Iran. And I made a little Instagram video about some historical context for that you guys should check out.
Yes, your Instagram videos have been on point.
Oh, thank you. So that's kind of where we sit today. Again, I'm sorry that we don't drop this show 1 second after we finish recording it.
Right.
We are not a news organization. It's Travi and I hanging out.
We're hanging out, and we're trying to make the news as terrible bearable.
Oh, God.
So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, man, those 88 guys. I'm sorry that we are laughing
Do you
about
think
it, but it's so dumb.
they were in there and they were like, do you think this is a good idea?
Yeah, why am I get the hair standing up on the back
I
of my
tried to
neck?
have a conference call, but no one wanted
Nobody
it.
wanted. They said we have to do it in person.
I just was like, what the fuck? What the?
So did any other echelons then? So they're just taking out.
IRGC compounds have also been hit.
Okay.
Yeah, headquarters.
Because that would be what the Iranian what they call it? Revolutionary Guard.
So there are two militaries in Iran. There's your standard standing military,
Yeah.
the regular one that we all think countries have. And then in 1979, they made the IRGC, which was basically the military to protect the theocracy, to protect the revolution, if you will,
Sure.
right?
Crazy.
Because they have this, we talked about this on the show before, but they have a revolutionary mindset. And that's what they were made to protect. They are also the ones that run the economy in Iran as well. So, okay. All of that together, a bunch of those. Also, the Basij headquarters. This is like the morality police that you see going around harassing,
Killing people.
yeah,
Very
harassing
moral.
women and all this stuff.
Very moral.
They also got hit. Then the fear I have, going back to this,
Okay,
the
yeah.
fear I have is now that they're there, if they don't wipe out the entire infrastructure of the regime, if this doesn't flip the country into a way where whether it's democracy, a constitutional monarchy, I don't care, whatever it is,
Yeah.
okay, if it doesn't flip and they end up with like, a skeletal version of the military autocracy that then is able to clamp down on the country and then makes a deal with Trump for oil and no nukes and stuff like that, that scares me a lot.
Oh, really?
Because now that they're there, I want them to just take everyone out. And it doesn't make me feel good to say that because it's like more killing and more innocent people will die. But if you leave them there,
Yeah.
then these people will have died in vain. And I know we
Sure.
celebrate the death of Khamenei, and we should, and he was a brutal, awful guy, but I didn't really like jump for joy like a lot of people in the diaspora did or people in Iran, and they deserve to have that moment and have that joy
Yeah.
because I was just crippled by the fear of what's going to happen next.
What comes next? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know I kind of generally asked you before the show because you wanted me to ask you questions, and I got a lot more questions. But you kind of hinted at it at that point right there. What is the good part of all this? Like you just said, how do I say his name again?
Khamenei.
Khamenei. He's gone. That's probably the best part.
Best.
That's
I
good.
wish my dad was alive to see it.
Do you think I worked out a conspiracy in my brain that maybe your dad was like part of some secret society where like as soon as he passed on, they were like, now we do it?
Well, sure. That sounds great.
Right? I think it's fun. I suggested it to Natalie and Amber when we were at this ridiculous romanticy thing over. It was
you
on
got to
Saturday.
go?
Yeah, well, I was doing video work for them.
Oh, nice. That sounds
and
fun.
it was so funny to like wake up on Saturday to this huge news and then go to this conference where all these girls are just like fairies and orcs and it was very silly, but I worked out a conspiracy in my brain.
Can I ask, do they think your beard was a costume?
Yes. I got compliments on the beard.
Of course you got compliments on the beard.
There?
They thought you were a fairy or some sort of
troll
wizard or a
like
warlock.
the bridge troll. Answer me 3 questions or whatever it is to get horny. They're also just everyone's very romanticy is.
Did you get a number?
No,
or like the address.
I
of
avoided
a house
everyone.
or
No,
something?
good grief.
Of a fairy house.
Natalie and Amber did say I should shave my beard though. I was like,
audience, this is it. I'm sorry.
No,
audience,
no. Now I'm
I
auditioning.
want you to tell Travis.
Do not make this about my beard. I have so many more questions about your home country.
Okay, go ahead.
Also, how do you know I'm not auditioning for the next role of Supreme Leader? I'm more like a taco Supreme Leader.
Okay, we have Muhammad Ali Shah, we have Ali, and then Travis Irvine.
Hello, 88 guys who are dead now. Hello. Why
Hello.
won't you answer my calls? We could have been a Zoom, boys.
All right, what else? What other questions you have?
Well, and then I think you also hinted at it. Why is this bad? Because last week we talked about a Mexican drug leader being also taken out, right? And what does it create? A power vacuum. So are we looking at a big old power vacuum? Yeah.
Okay, if it's not a military autocracy, right? Here's the best case scenario. They wipe out the regime. Whoever's left is just like, we give up, I'm sorry. And then like the crown prince, the Shah's son, gallops in on a white horse.
Yeah.
And he's like, hello, I have returned. I just got out of the club from bottle service.
All these guys sound the same.
They do.
Can we work on it? Let's work on your impressions, sir.
They do. They'll just get
Spend
more
some time
racist if I make them different sounding.
That's
you know.
true. Well, I can't do them. That's for sure.
Don't you dare!
Right. We'll get Henry
you can do
Zabrowski
them.
to coach you on accents that are not problematic whatsoever. But yeah, so Shah, it's the Reza Pahlavi.
That could be anyone could come in and help with the transition. If there's a referendum, do they want a constitutional monarchy? Do they want a representative democracy?
Or Benjamin Netanyahu to just run the whole show?
Exactly. Do they just want,
Did you see the video about him being like, I have dreamed of this for 40 years.
Oh, of course.
My wet dream has come true. I'm so hard right now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm glad people
I'm
are all dead
73.
because of
I
it.
can't believe. Yeah, I know.
It's like crazy. These guys, I would say the bloodthirst from not just, the power structures in Israel, but like the pro-Shah people and the people in my diaspora is scary.
Yeah.
And like, if you're listening or watching, I just want you to know, it will ruin you from the inside because that bloodthirst won't leave you. You will seek revenge all the time. I've seen it online. Some of you out there are saying, even when the Shah's son comes back, we're going to bring back the Savak, which is the secret police, and we're going to kill more guys.
Whoa.
And it's like, this is a slippery slope.
Yeah. Well, that's my concern. Are we looking at, Trump and Vance are already out there like, this will take a few weeks. And I'm just like, we have seen this show before, This will take decades.
And the question is, who else gets involved? Right?
Yeah. Oman. Now Oman's like, oh man, Oman.
Does China get involved? Does Russia get involved? Do they just like stay out of it? Do other regional powers get involved?
Does this World War III?
Yeah, exactly. So that's a big thing. The other thing that's a huge thing. It's a
concern.
Big concern.
World War III, the big one.
But the other thing is there's 2 other outcomes that could potentially happen. One is that Iran turns into a failed state like Afghanistan, Libya, Syria.
Always the one I think of. It literally was the richest country in Africa.
Yeah.
And then it just got obliterated.
Exactly. So that could be a real thing.
Is that the goal, though?
Well,
is that the goal of the Western powers?
The Gulf states would like that, and Israel would like that because
I'm thinking that's going to be it then.
That could be it.
If that's what all the power brokers want.
Well, that's why they're not really getting involved because they're just like, okay, let's just.
Oh, cool to be a failed state.
Yeah.
Like Haiti.
Exactly.
Libya. All the other places that used to be rich and against us.
And you know what that is? That neutralizes the threat, which is how the administration has changed their language now, which is like they're going after these political structures because if you can't meet, if 88 guys can't meet to elect a supreme leader, what can you do?
What can you do? They should have met at the Pizza Hut.
Yeah. And so Okay, so then that's an outcome. The other one is one we've talked about on the show before with Samira Mohideen, is a balkanized Iran. And that's one of the things I want to talk about today.
Sure.
Which is the ethnic groups within Iran.
So multiple little countries.
Yes. And here's the thing. Persians are a cultural group within Iran. So here's the thing. 48% of the country is Persian. Only 48%.
Oh,
right?
wow.
80 million people in the country.
I heard it was 90 million.
90 million?
Yeah.
Was that from the
Tucker Carlson asking Ted Cruz? You don't even know?
80 million, 90 million?
God, so Ted Cruz must be happy too.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, the Warhawks.
Well, Ted Cruz didn't want this war.
Oh, he didn't?
No, he did not want this.
So him and Tucker actually agreed by the end of that interview?
I think Ted Cruz probably, I don't know if he's in the Gang of Eight, but there was no reason for this, right? As an American, I can tell you there was no reason for this. As an Iranian, I'd say they were calling for help the entire time.
For 40 plus years.
And again, here's a good way of seeing it from the Iranian side, right? You've got somebody with a boot on your neck that's suffocating you, okay? And you're looking up, and you see Donald Trump with the greatest military, the most powerful military in the world standing behind him.
And you're like, yeah.
Are you going to look up at the guy that's got his boot on your neck and say, hey, let's talk. Can we just talk about this?
Yeah.
No.
You're
going to say, hey, Mr.
Hey, guy.
Epstein Island guy.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Mail Order Steaks guy. Hey, fake real estate university guy.
There's a lot of bad things about him. Keep going.
Hey, stuffed crust pizza guy. Hey, Home Alone 2 guy.
Guy who cheats at golf guy.
Yeah. Hey, fat guy, please help us.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah,
and so,
sure, because, the boot's on your neck.
Exactly. Sure. And so people will say it's an Israeli conspiracy or whatever, but, you're not appreciating how bad life was in Iran. I wanted to bring in a bunch of money because when my dad passed away, I went through his clothes and I cleaned stuff out and stuff like this. And I went through and I was going through his papers and his briefcases. I was looking for some sort of treasure, right? I was looking for something did he write a letter? Does he have
secret treasure?
Secret kid?
Part of the secret society.
Maybe another family I don't know about? That would have been cool.
Okay, wait. I don't know if that is cool.
I don't know. It's something. But I found he always kept a couple bucks, very Persian of him. He always kept a couple bucks in his pocket, and so many pairs of pants this man had. But in his briefcase,
just going through all his pants, it's all just money.
He had money and tissues. It's very cute.
Very useful papers.
He had 312,000 Iranian rials.
Is that a lot?
How much? I want you to guess how much
in American?
In U.S. dollars.
$30.
$30. Adam.
What you guess?
312,000 rials. How much do you think that is in U.S. dollars? $125. And at home, 312,000 rials. I want you to take a minute. Boom, boom, boom. How much in U.S. dollars?
Somebody should do a price of right thing and just say $1, Bob.
Okay. And you know what, Travis? If you said $1, you'd be too high.
What?
24 cents.
What? Oh, that's nuts.
24 cents.
312,000 rials is 20 American cents?
This is what we were also talking about with Samira, the inflation. This is you work one day, you do a one-day job, and let's say you don't get paid that day, you get paid the next day.
Sure.
All of a sudden, the money is worth half.
Oh, my gosh. That's nuts.
The buying power is worth half. It's crazy.
Yeah. So that was just all the sanctions and everything, or what are we
Sanctions and mismanagement, you name it. Everything happened. So this is why they were out in the streets. This is why a lot of this happened. So you can see the desperation of these people should not be discounted as some sort of Israeli op, right, or some intelligence operation. Yeah. It's not okay to do that, right? And again, I'm going to give space as well to foreign intelligence to have their fingers in the pot here as well. We always need to do that. But we have to hold the complexity of how bad life was for people over there.
Right.
Okay, so the people there, and I said 48% are Persians, and then you had other groups of people on the outside. Now, let me just give you some. So the Kurds, we've talked about the Kurds before.
Yeah.
They're mainly in the northwest, but they're also all over the country. There's about 10 million Kurds in the country.
Wow, that's a lot of Kurds.
So they speak a different language, okay? And so they got the guns. The
Yeah.
Kurds got the guns.
Kurds got guns?
They're the ones galvanizing kind of like a armed resistance, if you will.
Sure, because the Kurds, as we learned from our episode, have been mistreated by every single regime, every single country ever.
Exactly right. And so they aren't crazy about the Shah's son either, because the Shah was really bad to them. They were hugely oppressed under him. The Baluchis, they're in the southeast. They're near the Pakistan border. They share linguistic ties with the Pashtuns. Okay?
I'm going to guess this is all Italians.
Yeah,
The Baluchis?
Everyone's a little bit of a shade of Italian, exactly.
Sure, yeah. Well, they just sound Italian.
Southwest.
What about the Baluchis?
The Baluchis?
The wrong one died. Don't get me started.
Okay, so the Arabs are actually in Iran. Around the borders, there's a lot of Arab people as well that are Iranian. So
Okay.
Iran is about the land, right? The country of Iran.
It's a big one.
So that province is Khuzestan, okay? And then there's the Azeris in the farther northwest area. That's more Turkish people. And so they're approximately 15 to 20% of the country.
Yeah.
So you have this huge demographic split where people are trying to come together to form a resistance movement. Now, why does this matter? Because if there's going to be a change in the regime where the country is still together and the country is still Iran, then it's going to be up to these minority groups coming together that make up the other half of the country and not balkanizing into their own countries, right? And now the Shah's son has come out and he has sent a message directly to these minority groups, and which is so funny because his dad treated them all like shit.
Oh, I'm not my father.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so,
So he's got to make his case to all these folks.
exactly. And so let me play this video and I'll translate. I'll read you the captions as it's playing here because I think he does it in Persian here. My dear compatriots in the provinces of Khuzestan,
کرمانشاه، کردستان و آذربایجان غربی.
Western Azerbaijan,
آذری‌ها، کردها
brave and patriotic Azeris, Kurds, lords of Iran,
و لرهای دلیر و وطن پرست ایران. جامعه شریف
the
یارسان.
Yarsan community,
ایلات و طوایف
the tribes of Yaf, Kalhor,
سنجابی و
Sanjabi,
بختیاری.
Bakhtiari.
Incredible. This is
شما
like
از روز اول روی کار آمدن جمهوری
From the
اسلامی
very
تا
beginning of the
کنون
Islamic Republic's
مورد
rule,
غضب و اذیت
you
و
have endured
آزار این
repression
رژیم
and
استبدادی و
discrimination and
جنایتکار
injustice at the
بوده‌اید.
hands of this authoritarian and criminal regime.
wow.
It is hilarious.
How many different groups?
Well, how many different groups? Yes, but
'Cause
this guy's dad screwed over all these people.
wow. Because I'm listening to this is like a Star Wars episode.
Yes.
All these different planets of all these different people got screwed by the Republic.
And it is
And what are we gonna do? Make Darth Vader captain.
it is very smart though for him to do this because he
Sure.
needs to make amends with these groups because none of them trust the monarchy.
Yeah.
ایان که حاضر به تسلیم شده باشید.
You've never surrendered though.
شما در تمام 47 سال گذشته
Throughout all these
به ویژه
47
در
years,
انقلاب ملی
especially during the
خورشید،
National Lion and Sun revolutions, you've given dozens of your best sons and daughters forever remembered in the cause of freedom and
من
reclamation
به
of our
شما
country.
اطمینان میدهم
I assure you, I will devote my utmost effort
تا در فردای
to
آزادی
ensure that
ایران
in a free
با
Iran,
استقرار حکومتی
under a
مبتنی بر
government
جدایی
founded on
دین
the
از
separation
حکومت،
of religion
بر
and
پایه
state,
حاکمیت قانون
grounded in the
و
rule of
حقوق
law and equal
شهروندی
citizenship, which is
برابر،
huge, equal citizenship. Remember when Hamoun was on, who's Kurdish, he talked about how you were second-class citizens, both in Iran today and previously, but today especially that you're not Persian and you are a Sunni Muslim and not Shiite Muslim.
Wow.
دیگر مورد
You will no
تبعیض
longer
قرار
face
نگیرید.
discrimination.
بتوانید به مانند هر ایرانی
You will
دیگری
be like every other Iranian
آزادانه و با
and live
حفظ
freely
هویتی
while
که
preserving your
دارید
identity
زندگی کنید و از مواهب
to
ایران
benefit justly
آزاد
and
به طور
equitably
عادلانه بهره
from the
مند
blessings
شوید.
of liberating
شما
Iran.
از بدنه ایران تاریخی
You're
و
inseparable
فرهنگی
from part of
هستید
Iran's historical and
که
cultural
همواره
fabric.
حافظ
They've
تمامیت
always stood as
ارضی
guardians
کشور و
of our
عزت و
territorial
سرافرازی
integrity
ملت
and the
بوده
dignity
است.
and honor of our nation.
اطمینان
So I won't go through the rest of it, but
I mean, this is a pretty good speech.
It
Get
is-
this guy a white horse already.
exactly. And you know what? Like here's the funny part about this. Like he is the consultant created leader for these people.
He's the Hillary Clinton.
He is. I mean, Hillary's more savage than this guy. At least
Right.
Hillary,
More
like,
consultants even.
yeah. I mean, like Kamala is like better, but like this guy didn't even hold any office. He's never run anything.
Right, he's just the descendant,
Right.
the blood descendant.
You've made a major motion picture.
I sure have.
You've made a feature film. You've made how many? 2, 3?
2 and then 3 short documentaries.
Okay, so 2 feature films. Would you say you were the leader on set?
Yes, I was the Ayatollah.
This man has not led shit.
Oh, really?
I think he's led a conga line at the club,
Oh,
but
well,
he has
hold on,
not
that
led.
sounds fun.
He has not led anything.
Right.
And here's the thing: like any one of these videos, he could be like, "Here is my experience.
Sure.
This is why I'm the man for the job." He's just saying, "I'm the guy because you guys trust me," and there's all this kind of nostalgia love for me being here.
It's almost like he was a reality TV star, had no qualifications for the office, and then wants to get elected.
He's a big drinker, though.
Oh,
That's the difference.
Man,
He
stop
likes
making
to
him sound fun. Conga lines.
That's the problem. He was fun.
Yeah. Damn, fun Shaw.
So that is a huge thing that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. That will become a huge thing that people talk about soon, the minority groups within the country and what they're
And
doing.
I saw the comments. There was an Instagram video that you just showed us.
Yeah.
And there's like a bunch of little claps.
Yes.
A lot of emojis, very positive.
Well, people are very, they're really into him coming back. Again, there's this retrotopia of what life was like under the Shah.
Sure.
And again, if you compare it,
Sure. Anything. It's
Yeah,
a low bar.
it's a low bar.
Yeah. Can you get a conga line under that bar?
Again, if P. Diddy was like, I will lead the Iranian people to a transition to a democracy, a separation between church and state, every Iranian would be like, Diddy John, we love you, Diddy John.
Because then he put things better. Also, he's going to provide cheap oil.
Iran had the first freak off in Persia thousands of years ago, buddy.
Yeah.
They would love Diddy John.
Wow.
Okay? So this is how desperate these people are for a change.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to sit here in Los Angeles and feel both of those feelings at the same time.
Right. That's a lot, man. That's
It's
a lot.
So much.
So we are basically, this is a wait and see situation.
Every single moment that we are sitting here, something could change and happen. And I think I covered all the stuff that I wanted to cover as far as that goes.
And you've answered all of my questions.
Oh, good.
It does seem like now, per my friends' group chats, at least we have something to talk about for an undetermined amount of time.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you will keep us updated, and I appreciate all your insight.
Yeah. And, jump on my IG or the Foreign Report Show IG, and, I'm going to try to post updates.
You're more in real time there.
Yeah, I'm gonna
than
try-
we can be on here. Really.
Yeah, again, I don't think I'm going to be like news updates. There's
you
a
still
guy
have a
like
family, and you want to hang out with your kids.
Exactly. I mean, that's the crazy part. You
Yeah,
are
yeah.
like, it's like, Daddy, playtime, Daddy, and then you look at your phone, it's just like, Bob, it's like crazy. We also got to be parents after this. I can't imagine with the people of Iran. I mean, there are videos. Again, there are videos that I'm seeing where people are walking through rubble and they're thanking America and Israel. And again, this is similar to what happened in Iraq, where
Right.
people were thanking the troops coming in for taking out Saddam Hussein. Remember, Saddam Hussein also gassed the Iranian Kurds along that border during the Iran-Iraq War.
Yep.
While America was sending corn subsidies to Saddam Hussein.
Yep.
So it's like, hold space.
Yes.
And then, I think we also, the UAE's getting hit too. They're the chillest one in West Asia.
Wow.
And they're getting hit hard. And we have a great listener that was sending me stuff. They're taking out a lot of the missiles that are coming in from Iran. So shout out to her. And I'm exhausted.
You did great.
All right, let's take a break. I will dump my head in ice water, and when we come back, should we just do the JD Vance quarter? What cover? Do you want to do the B block?
Let's do a little around the world. We got a couple
stories from around the world for you.
Yeah.
When we come back, we're going to talk about Pakistan and Afghanistan, and maybe a little Cuba.
Maybe a little Cuba.
All right, this is the Foreign Report. We will be right back. Welcome back to the Foreign Report. I'm Seena, Ghaznavi, Travis Irvine. We're trying to make this bearable. No chance, but I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you. I was very proud of my Taco Supreme Leader joke. Sometimes my jokes go under because you are very busy actually teaching people things, but I am the Taco Supreme Leader.
You are the Taco Supreme Leader.
I'll see y'all at Taco Bell. Be a sponsor, Taco Bell. Feel free.
So, man, it's crazy.
So that region's totally effed. Surely their neighbors must be doing fine.
they're like, hey, there's a war going on over there. What are we doing? Let's have a war!
Mini war!
All right, former friends, the Afghani Taliban and Pakistan, have escalated their attacks on each other in recent weeks.
This is crazy. And I remember in the not-so-distant past, Pakistan and India were fighting.
Exactly.
So everyone's fighting over there.
Can't we all just get along?
I guess not.
Apparently not. Pakistan, which once harbored and supported the Taliban, are accusing the Afghan government of now harboring and supporting the Tariq-e-Taliban, and aka the Pakistani Taliban, a militant organization that has launched repeated attacks against Pakistani security forces, most recently a suicide bomber who killed dozens of people in an Islamabad courthouse.
Whoa, so the Talibans are fighting?
We got Taliban on Taliban crime.
Dude, we need to Taliban these Talibans.
Perfect. The Afghans have basically been talking about both sides of their mouth. Publicly, they're saying, who, us? No, not us, buddy. Who don't know that. They're saying, listen, we don't know that Taliban. Please do not confuse us with that Taliban. We would be caught dead with them. While privately acknowledging their support, of course. Pakistan, in response, has declared itself in open war with their former buddies, recently stepping up the offensive by launching strikes against Bagram Air Base, the former staging ground for the U.S. military, and a base Trump has said he wants back. Remember, Pakistan has nukes.
Oh, that's right. I always forget that you go through the countries that have nukes, and you're like, oh, right, also Pakistan. Totally stable. Totally fine.
Yeah, they don't have rolling blackouts there or anything like that.
No, it's not exactly where Osama bin Laden was found.
How do we think the war with Iran will echo in this part of the world?
Yeah, I'm doing my rough geography. I'm pretty sure they're all neighbors. They're all right there.
Yeah, and one thing to keep in mind too is that on the Iran border in the southern, in the southeastern border. I kind of want to share my screen and show you guys.
Yeah, let's look at a map. Sometimes it's fun to look at a map and realize how dangerously close everyone is in that region.
These dark areas are mountains. In the southeastern part, right? And all along this Iran, Afghan, and Pakistani border, you have mountains. And these borders are not really, there's no border wall. There's no border patrol.
Checkpoints.
Yeah. There's not even like a racist dude with a lawn chair and a rifle.
Yeah, right. You can't come in here.
No. This is my Iran. Okay? And so this is also where a lot of drug trade happens.
Oh, that's right. Afghanistan, home to the poppies.
So you can see it goes from Afghanistan. It can also get on a boat in the Persian Gulf, go through the Strait of Hormuz, and get out to sea or whatever it wants to do. It can do whatever this is shit is wild over here. Okay.
Wow.
So that's something to really keep in mind. So how it can pop off is you don't know that it's popping off. This is also where my family smuggled my brother out through Pakistan, because you could just drive straight into Pakistan.
Wow. And there's just one guy in a lawn chair.
Don't
bring that baby over here.
They got past him.
Well, hell, there goes another one.
There goes. And so
send him to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So I think this is really bad. And they could enter. And this is the part that I think is also something I fear if we have a Libya situation with Iran, is you could have these Talibans banding together in the southern part of Iran.
The Taliban's band together.
I don't know. I don't think they're going to band together. They're not going to get along. But they could be. The fight could bleed into there. There could be an insurgency issue.
Wow. And then, and then Afghanistan, Pakistan, India's right there.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Everything's super chill over there.
Super chill. Very chill. That's crazy. So, okay. So, yeah. So, like you just asked, the war in Iran reverberates over there. Somehow, probably a bunch of refugees or something.
And we've pivoted to like this, we kind of like, we're talking to the Pakistanis a little bit more now. India's kind of talking to Europe more. And so this is like the interesting thing. Like the United States, like Pakistan's been currying the favor of Trump since, remember that Pakistan-India standoff that we saw in the Kashmir region that we covered that a while ago.
Yeah, you predicted it.
Yeah, and so the Trump, Pakistan said, Trump solved it. And then Trump was like, hey, you guys are my guys.
I solved 19 wars.
Yeah. By the way,
I started 8 of those.
he started this peace board.
Yeah,
The Board of Peace.
Yeah, it's like just him and Israel right now.
But it's 1 week later.
Yeah.
He started this war.
How's that going? He's the peace president. Don't you remember?
I know.
He won the FIFA
These
World Cup Peace Prize.
MAGA guys coming out and saying they're not into this war is the funniest thing ever. Like, you believed everything he said?
Yeah. The
like
MAGA
Andrew,
guys.
what's his name? The comedian.
Oh, you're specifically talking about the comedians.
Well,
yeah.
the comedians, Andrew Schultz, right?
Dave Smith, all of them.
Well, they were like, "What? I didn't vote for that."
I didn't vote for this.
Oh, did the politician not do what he promised?
You tell me he lied to you?
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
I don't believe
I
it.
don't believe it for a second.
All right, let's move over to Cuba.
Ooh, more regional.
Whew.
Surely it must be going fine there.
Everything's okay. Mexico's helping them out, though. With the energy.
Okay.
Sorry, my brain is frazzled right now.
Let's switch to Cuba.
Let me just switch to Cuba. Let's dig into this situation. Let me give you a quick refresher. In late January, post-Maduro seizure, Trump effectively laid siege to Cuba, cutting off oil shipments from Venezuela, which had been supplying the island with 35,000 barrels of oil a day and threatening tariffs against any other foreign supplier. As a result, Cuban tourism has ground to a halt, along with most other sources of income, which is super bad for Cuba.
Yeah.
Cuba was already extremely poor to begin with. The UN has warned of a humanitarian crisis while the country is experiencing rolling blackouts. Trump, meanwhile, stays upbeat.
Oh, good.
He's like, there could be a friendly takeover. In a statement, Marco Rubio even said, Cuba needs to change.
A friendly takeover?
Exactly.
Like, pow, pow, pow.
Yeah.
Hi.
We won't bomb you with airstrikes. We'll just walk in and kill you.
Right. Okay. Well, that's fun.
So Cuba needs...
Kill him with show tunes. Do you like cats?
Marco Rubio said Cuba needs to change. It doesn't have to change all at once. It doesn't have to change from
He's part
one
of that,
day to the
the
next.
exiled Cuban community from South Florida.
Everyone is mature and realistic here. He says, we're seeing that process play out, for example, in Venezuela, he added, which, by the way, this Venezuela thing is not going to work out. That is my prediction.
Okay.
He keeps saying that it's going to work out. Everything's, we have their oil. They're going to listen to us. That country, that's not going to work. They're going to play it safe for now, and then it's going to get real bad.
Oh, boy.
The Cuban government, though, has remained defiant, and Trump has recently begun allowing oil sales to private entities in Cuba, circumventing the government. Some claim it's an effort to force the government to shift more power to private enterprise. Mexico, as I mentioned earlier, they're helping stopgap a little bit to Cuba as well, giving them some aid. I mean, apparently... Rubio has been meeting with Raul Castro's grandson, who's nicknamed the Crab, which, I mean, of all the nicknames, I just not one I want.
Yeah, well, you scuttle a lot.
Yeah.
And then you got the claw, pinch. But all you do is pinch, and then you just, like, hang on.
Yeah, what do you do?
That's what, anytime I've seen someone get attacked by a crab, that's all that happens. It's just, ow, get it off.
Get it off.
Right.
So he's trying to see if he'll be amenable, but there's no plan, assuming chaos better than what Cuba has now. I don't know. This is like crazy. There's a humanitarian, just again, crisis happening there. We're gonna try to basically economically suffocate this country so that the people, again, try to rise up or overthrow their own government. It's bad, sure, politically they are, but they also have universal health care. They have a very high literacy rate. So people there are also very poor, and there's a huge gap. But they do have all those cool old cars.
They do. And baseball.
And baseball.
Yeah. Wow. So to be continued, it seems. It seems like the Trump foreign policy, and Marco Rubio, obviously very involved with this, is everything everywhere all at once. The hit Oscar-winning movie. I mean, it really is just like go after all of it.
Trump thinks everything's going so well.
He starts 8 wars, and then he says he solves 8 wars. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, he's completely optimistic all the time.
It's really crazy to be like, I don't think these are going very well. Like, you get like a couple ships of oil, and you're like, we got spiked the football already, buddy?
Right.
Like, things take a while to play out.
Right. Well, and of course, we kind of glossed over his State of the Union speech because it was so infuriating for both of us to even attempt to talk about. But that was just pure gaslighting. Like, everything's better than ever. Prices lower than ever. Here's a medal for a 100-year-old World War II vet. You can't boo him, can you? Oh, you boo me, but you're booing him now.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So it's a lot of just saying it's okay and then not. I mean, is Middle America feeling this okayness?
Exactly.
So that's the big deal.
We'll see what happens. I mean, watch this space. We're going to keep covering what's happening in Cuba. I think this is also part of that spheres of influence thing where we're trying to basically just take over the entire Western Hemisphere. But yeah.
And a few other hemispheres.
Jesus, seems like it. By the way,
all the hemispheres.
One other note on Iran.
Yeah.
Definitely boots on the ground. There's already boots on the ground.
Oh, really?
I don't know this for a fact. This is my pure guess, but I think it's bullshit that everyone keeps saying there's not going to be boots on the ground.
What do you think? It's like CIA intelligence
They've
services type deal?
got troops there ready to go into the country, if not there, because look at that. Those borders are not patrolled.
Right.
So you could station some guys there and just get ready for stuff. Like, I just don't think they're doing this pure air attack without any asset on the ground. It just doesn't make logical sense to me. I don't believe them. And if I'm wrong, fine, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, even Trump said, I mean, we've already had U.S. casualties, and Trump was just like, there'll be more.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Oh, my
it's
God.
like, good grief, dude. Could you sound any less compassionate?
Who's the one who said, did someone say this thing that this war is going to bring Jesus back?
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of people who said that. Pat Robertson is already with Jesus, I believe, but whoever's taking Pat Robinson's place is, I mean, probably that sounds like a Mike Huckabee quote. I don't want to.
I don't know.
Who knows?
All right,
all of them.
We did cover it. Anyways, oh, God, my brain feels like it's going through a cheese
Don't
grater.
worry, I have something that's going to cheer you up.
Okay, let's take a break and let's get back to the JD Vance Corner. We'll be right back. This is the Foreign Report. Welcome back to the Foreign Report. I'm Seena, Ghaznavi, Travis Irvine. We know what time it is.
Here we go. Whoa!
Give him a chance. It's JD Vance. No, wait, he sucks.
Club remix,
so
ladies and
good.
gentlemen. Club remix, ladies and gentlemen. Love the
and-
animation. I'm in the thing.
You say it.
Yeah, they left it in the. That's what's
And
so
then you
fun.
said it
But then I say it again. It's a double say. They call that.
Double say.
So,
Take me on
it's
a
been
ride.
a heavy
baby.
show, yo.
Take me on a ride.
So I get, we always try to highlight a little bit of good news for you with the JD Vance Corner. And again, sometimes it's a low bar.
Yeah.
There's some dark clouds out there, but we got to look at the silver lining. Go ahead and play this Facebook video that popped into my algorithm of JD Vance before the attacks. Keep in mind, everyone, JD Vance, he's the explainer for the America First, Middle America supporters of Trump. He's the one that says, don't worry, there won't be any long wars. It's not going to be a long war. Like he said, remember the first time when we bombed Iran? He was like, this is a quick. Our president, the difference is the presidents aren't dumb now. They're smart presidents. So he gets asked about, this is before any bombs were dropped, and he gets asked about the drumbeat of war.
And secondly, on Iran, while you're here, can you explain to the American people why the United States would need to strike Iran to stop them from getting a nuclear weapon if the United States obliterated their enrichment program last summer?
Which is a
Well, I'm
valid
not going to make
question.
any news on Iran today, Caitlin. I'll let the president make those announcements. As you know, he is sending 2 of his best
announcements
negotiators
to
to Geneva tomorrow in order to continue to try to strike the best deal possible for the
Sounds
American
so
people.
funny.
But the
Sounds so
principle
funny
is
in
very
hindsight.
simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. If they try to rebuild a nuclear weapon, that causes problems for us. And in fact, we've seen evidence that they have tried to do exactly that. So the president sending those negotiators to try to address that problem, as the president has said repeatedly, he wants to address that problem diplomatically. But of course, the president has other options as well.
All right. Boom. So Vance, prior to any bombs dropping, is clearly saying, hey, let's let diplomacy play out.
Yeah.
Hey, we can figure this out, but they can't have a weapon, and they won't because we're working on it. Boom. Like less than 24 hours later, bombs everywhere. So the new rumor is, yes.
I was just going to say, they didn't obliterate everything. Even we
That's another
covered
thing.
it.
Yes.
We said there's stuff that they don't know,
Yeah.
and there's a bunch of this uranium that they didn't get.
And that was like a big question prior to, because the Trump administration, Donald Trump, they kept justifying this attack by saying, oh, they can't have a nuclear weapon. And then all the reporters were like, didn't you just say a couple months ago that you obliterated all the nuclear weapons? And that's what they did say.
Yeah.
So again, it's just constant, just nothing makes sense. And JD Vance goes out there and says, oh, we're going to figure it out diplomatically. Turns out JD's out of the loop. Unfavored son, according to the Daily Beast. Yes, Vance has been silent the past few days, you may have noticed, amid the claims of split with Trump. Again, JD, as we remember from the Signalgate chats,
Right.
he's like, let's do America first, no wars.
Yeah.
This has got to be strategical, and we're not going to start any wars. Well,
And Hegseth is like, I am bringing on the end times.
yeah, Hegseth is like, hold my beer and also my gin. I'm a gin guy. He loves to yell. So I want you, if you could pull up this Daily Beast article real quick. This is what's so fascinating. The White House, from this past weekend of starting a war, released a whole bunch of photos of the various teams within the administration.
Yeah.
And tucked away, scroll down a little bit, is it's so telling to tuck away the vice president. And then also a few of the other pariahs, right? There's some pictures of the actual war room that's happening. Scroll back up here. The actual war room that's happening is Marco Rubio, Susan Wiles, the chief of staff, Trump, obviously. And then there's like a kiddie table. If you go to this kiddie table, this is J.D. Vance drinking his little Diet Mountain Dew.
Look at that. Let me zoom in on that.
Look at his little Diet Mountain Dew. You also have Tulsi Gabbard, who has obviously no say in a giant war they're about to do. Also,
Other big, huge anti-war MAGA
Chris
person.
Wright, the energy secretary. Sorry, you don't get to say anything about this either. And Scott Bessent, the treasury secretary, who I don't know if we've ever actually showed, but if you watch any of his testimony at Congress ever, everyone's just like, are you even in charge? Like, what are you doing? He's in charge of the treasury, supposedly. So this is the kiddie table. The table that was left in the loop by a secure line, and that was it. Basically saying, you're not calling any shots here. And it's just so funny to see JD with his Diet Mountain Dew looking so unpresidential right now. Like, even Trump with his hat in some of these photos, like, it does look like he's in charge, even though,
For sure.
I mean, who the hell knows who's in his ear telling him to do this. But that's it. That's the one bit of good news I have, as always, is the cracks in the MAGA ceiling that JD Vance
Iced him out.
There's
no way he can run for president now, too, because everyone's going to put this war on him.
Right. It's like Marcus said when he was on our show a couple weeks ago. Fall guy.
Yeah.
For everything bad, despite the, now I'm looking at a photo where Marco Rubio's in the room. Even Marco Rubio looks presidential right now.
Yeah, Marco Rubio can stand on business for this war if he wants to. Vance, because Rubio wanted this. He's at least
he's part of
wanted
the War Hawks.
Yeah. So, Vance has got nothing to stand on.
No. So that's the thing. This, again, bit of good news. The cracks in the MAGA ceiling, and that is that now, because JD was against this war, and there's even a Hill article that said that JD, if he was even advising to go even bigger with the war. So either way, he's wrong, and he's being iced out.
He wanted it bigger?
Yeah, the Hill is reporting that his advice was to make it an even bigger war. So either no war or a big war. And then everyone was like, okay, JD, go to that table over there.
How do you make it bigger than it is now?
Take your Diet Mountain Dew and just go sit at the kiddie table. So he's iced out. And that's my good news from the JD Vance corner. Moving on.
What? Sorry.
No more. We're done. No, we're done. I'm done. You're done. We're
Wait.
done. No, you can't. No, don't even. Don't even look into it.
The first day of the Iran war cost $700 million. Over $700 million.
Oh,
How much
man.
bigger do you want it to be?
Make it even bigger. Wow, imagine how many NPR stations and food banks and rural hospitals could have been funded with all that money.
You know what the problem is? Sesame Street. We should get rid of Sesame Street.
We're going to defund Sesame Street.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
All right.
So,
Guys, the Foreign Report LPN. I forgot to plug the newsletter, foreignreportshow.com. Sign up for the newsletter.
yeah, please.
Did people make it to the end of the show?
I made it.
I'm
I'm still here.
On
You're
the
doing
show.
great.
On the
Let's
show.
eat some food. Everyone, take care of yourselves and your families and your communities. That's all we can do right now. And then we breathe and then we fight another day.
We fight. All right. We'll see you next time. This has been the Foreign Report. Peace.